the sluggo, slant and go.
Casey the Beef Cregan, it's Wednesday. So I was say we always talk on Wednesday, but that's not true anymore. We talk most Wednesdays, but this is show number 86 as we approach our 2-year anniversary. That's weird saying that, but you know what I mean. 2-year anniversary of this show. And I had thought that this summer we're going to hit number 100. I mean, unless the collective bargaining agreement between the two of us runs out and we go on strike, we're going to have a show 100. So that's kind of incredible.
That is incredible. And to think how it started just because of the dang pandemic, you know, and a random email. And here we are. So I'm glad it's happened. I enjoy it. I miss it. I miss it when we don't do it. But, you know, obviously life happens.
Look who's checked in here and beat Kevron into the comments. Nelson Wilhouse, good evening. Good evening, Nelson. We're happy to see you. We haven't seen you in the last few weeks, but always happy to see you, and we appreciate all you do for the show and the Facebook group.
He's going to help. He's our fact checker. He's our fact checker on the show.
He checks us, that's for sure. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. You know, I was thinking something good the other day that came out of the pandemic is my wife and I last week, well, every day's bad for me these days at work, but last week I had a crappy day and she had a crappy day, and Sue said, let's go for a walk at lunch, which was, you know, we never did this before. She was at the office. But so now we have these little times during the day when we're both having a crappy day, or one or the other's having a crappy day, we can go for a walk. So a couple of good things have come out of the pandemic, you know, a lot of terrible things, but a couple of good things have come out of the pandemic. How's your week been? Like I said, we haven't talked in 2 weeks.
Man, I am traveling. I literally have started, and now my travel has been just in the state, and not even that. It's like half the state, but it's kind of weird. But I wake up some days in a hotel room going, all right, where am I today? Because there was a week that I was in Union County one day, Spartanburg, Columbia, and then Somerville in a 4-day span. And so literally I'll wake up and it's just, you know, presentation here, presentation there, but it's suitcase packing. Pack up next hotel room, pack up next hotel room. And it was pretty crazy. Just like, where am I? But it's been great, man. I got a really nice message from the higher ups at my company today. And so it's, cool. Yeah, I'm having a ball. Job's really good. So I'm sorry you're having bad days. My wife actually is having a bad day. So maybe we should go for a walk after this, but
you should.
Life's been good, man. It's everything. They're leaving me for a couple weeks. I'm going to miss my little guy, but and my wife too. But yeah, they're leaving me for a couple weeks, so we'll be all right.
The beef on the loose. That could be crazy. So is this going to be like? Are you going to be traveling all the time, all weeks, or just get acquainted, or what's going on?
No, so this has been presentation. So yeah, it's hit or miss. It's some weeks that there's 4 days. Like next week, I am traveling Tuesday, but not Wednesday. So yeah, no, it's just great. It's just hit or miss. But we should be all right. I mean, even at the hotels, I plug in at the hotel and I probably get better internet than I do at my house.
Well, you are on the island. Casey visits all the best Marriott properties in the state.
Wouldn't say the best, but I will say good. They are 3-star and above, yes.
You laugh, but the wife and I, when we travel, we love the Marriott properties. That's where we stayed in Orlando.
That's all I stay in.
Yeah,
that's all I stay in.
And in Hilton Head, for that matter, we stayed over there on Marriott properties. We loved it.
That's a nice one here.
Depends, like you said, which brand you choose Marriott, but you know how that goes. Some are better than others. Man, if you only knew a native of Spartanburg County, I think he's talking to you. Houston Burnett.
Hey, I got to talk to you, Houston, because I got tickets for next Tuesday's game against South Carolina State. So if you want to go, I may have an extra.
There you go. And Houston had a good one the other day when I put up the highlight of Ben Boulware. I was making a comment about what was it, smoked chicken at the 5 yard line. He came back with crashing a Bentley, no qualms about crashing a Bentley or whatever it was. That
Yeah, it
was
was
great,
good.
Houston. Very, very good. Hey, speaking of crashing Bentleys, unfortunately, Adam Randall tore his ACL last Friday, and I haven't heard anything after that. But I'm assuming he's out for the year. Um, and this will be his red shirt season, man. That Tigers just can't avoid that injury bug. I know you sent me a text beforehand. I think we both got emails asking if we have any eligibility left to play in the spring game. I mean, there's so many injuries. You have to laugh so you don't cry situation. They had a walk on linebacker playing safety the other day, I think, because they had nobody healthy to play safety, or not enough to cover the two safety slots, which is really, really scary. But the injury to Adam Randall is really a huge, huge bummer. I kind of thought all that luck would change this year, but it hasn't changed yet.
Yeah, it is a bummer, and I think it's magnified because of last season, and especially at that position group. I just believe that, especially, I keep saying especially, that must be my word today. But Adam Randall was the one that was getting a ton of press. I mean, he had the NFL body. He has been making the highlight reel catches. He's was equated to Sammy Watkins as far as being a freshman and being ready. Bo Collins was another one that he was compared to. So it's just a bummer that you get hyped up. I wrote about it in my article about 5 things that I'm going to watch this weekend, just about watching him. So it completely nullified that whole article. So it's just a bummer because thankfully this is what's getting me through. Marty, is it's April. It's April, and as Houston said, clean tear, no timetable. Dabo didn't rule out he could be back Amari 2.0. And we do know Amari Rogers came back in what, 3 months, something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know if Adam Randall's going to come back in 3 months, but if he could come back in 4 or 5 months, that'd be all right too. And what JP said it the other day, he still has to learn the playbook. Amari was a senior, knew
Yeah.
the whole scheme
Right.
and everything. So it might be a little bit of a further climb, but it stinks because I thought that was going to add to some depth, and we were led to believe that he was going to be a real contributor.
Yeah, it stinks. It stinks for the football team, but it stinks for that guy because, all reports, as you said, were that he was ready to contribute this year in a big way. And hate to have him have a year setback, but he's certainly not the only injury. I mean, wow, there's just injury after injury. And, I was joking with John Chansey, did the Rubbing the Rock article, the what to know for each position group for the spring game, the primers. I I read the first one and I said it'd be easier for you to write who is playing, not who isn't playing, because most of the positions had more guys that weren't playing than were playing. And this even exacerbates that a little bit. It seems like a million injuries. And the first thing I put on my spring primer, which my 5 things I want to see, which will come out Friday, is no injuries. And I'm like, heck, we didn't even make it to the game before we had injuries a week before the game. So I don't care what it looks like. I should just change it now and take 4 of my things out and just say, walk through. walk, walk through. Don't run down the
4 empty
hill.
pages. Yeah.
Don't run down the hill because somebody might hurt themselves. Don't jump and tear up your knee like somebody did one year. Just walk down the hill and walk through on the field. And
Well, thankfully they're not doing the hill because they're doing the construction, and the rock is actually taken out because of the construction. So from what I hear, there will be no hill run this weekend, which I think is a blessing. I know
yes,
some Clemson purists may not like it, but I think it is going to be a blessing for some of us because God only knows they're going to trip over yard lines, I think, at some point and miss a year.
And Nelson says Amari Rogers to come back and play after an ACL injury in the spring. Highly unusual. Yeah, I think Casey mentioned that there was different circumstances, a senior versus a guy that's been on campus for a couple of months, et cetera, et cetera. John Chancey says we did get Fred Davis back, though. Can he play wide receiver?
Hey,
Thank
Marty,
you.
don't worry. We got Drew Sweeney.
The Sweeneys might have to adopt a kid here soon. We need some more wide receivers. Anyway, what a tough time for Clemson football. Let's get them out of the way now. It seemed like for a couple of years there weren't many injuries, but my lordy, we've gotten it. Hey Casey, I know you know this next topic because you texted me last night. Clemson baseball defeated Georgia. Now this is after a bummer of a weekend series against NC State, where they crushed NC State in the first game. You thought they had a real good chance to take the series, but I don't know. Sundays they look just lethargic on most Sundays for whatever reason, and the game ended up being what, 7, was it 7-5 on Sunday, or 9-7 maybe, and it was a 2-run game, but it seemed like 100-10 or something. It just didn't seem like they had the energy to come back. But in their defense, midweek game against Georgia, they looked fired up and ready to play yesterday.
Yeah, and I've been doing the weekend the opponent preview for rubbingtherock.com, and I was being very generous in what I saw and what I've read and everything yesterday, saying that Clemson was going to lose 8-4. And wow, I mean, baseball happened. Clemson is just really, when they need it the most, they're hitting the long ball. Whether it's Blake, how did I forget his name? Blake Wright, or wow, I'm usually really good with names too. Blake Wright, Max Wagner. When they get the long Cooper Ingle, so they got 3 long balls yesterday and won 4-3. Billy Barlow looked great on the hill, not just good, he looked great. Was it Gilbert gave up the 2-run home run,
Yes.
and a 4-3? You kind of got, the way the season's been shaping up recently, you kind of got that feeling of, oh crap, here it is, here it comes. Gilbert bared down, got the next out, got him out of the inning. Ryan Ammons comes in and gets these 3 little nubbers, basically. Great play by first base. Good Lord, Briar Hawkins.
It's your favorite player.
I'm having a hard time tonight. I know, right? Great play by Briar Hawkins to get the first out of the inning, and Ammons jumping off the mound. It was just a really well-played game, and Monty Lee said it in his interview after the game. They were the better team last night, and he was 100% correct. Clemson was clearly the better team last night. He also said, which I hate, the better team doesn't always win. Like, why would you even say that? So you got to, maybe it came off the wrong way, the way that I read it, but you can admit that you're better than them. But they're 19-9, 15-7 at home. They travel this weekend to Notre Dame.
Can be tough.
A very good Notre Dame team. I have their stats here for my review. They're 17-5. They've only played 4 games at home because it's cold in Indiana. Hopefully it won't be too cold and they won't cancel a game like they did against Pitt.
2-6 in the ACC, I believe. So they got some work to do, and they don't play very well when it's cold. So going to be a tough weekend maybe in South Bend. Like you said, a good team. We know from last year. I haven't seen Notre Dame this year, but this is when the season took a dive last year, right? When they lost the series to Notre Dame. And Notre Dame was incredibly sound fundamentally last year. I'm assuming they are this year.
You're going to notice a lot of similar names. Sorry, Marty. You're going to notice a lot of similar names on the lineup this year for Notre Dame.
Yeah, they don't. And when you're fundamentally sound, it usually doesn't change from year to year. It's usually a trait that follows a team. And even when the names change, you're saying they're the same. So even more. So probably a fundamentally sound Notre Dame. I don't know what the weather's going to be in South Bend. I've been kind of busy this week. So I haven't had a chance to do research. I was telling Casey before the show, I did about 45 seconds on the agenda, and that's all I had time for. Past my wife coming up the stairs. She was still working at whatever time it is here, 6:30. So hectic week here, but we are here to talk sports. Good luck to the Tiger baseball team. I probably won't have time to do the stats this week. I'll catch up over the weekend. a couple busy days ahead. Hey, Casey, I don't know if you heard this one, but Alamir Dawes has entered the transfer portal, the second guard in a couple of weeks. Now, between Dawes, Honor, and David Collins, the Tigers are losing around 2,600 minutes at the guard position. Now, when I wondered who was going to replace Nick Honor, JP Priester of allclemson.com said Josh Beadle will be the guy. And of course, they have one of the Chauncey brothers you mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, Chauncey Gibson, 6'6", shooting guard from Dallas, is coming in too. The way I looked at this, and I wrote something for rubbingtherock.com, is this means they're getting bigger. And I wonder if it's by design, right? Out go Dawes and Honor, two shorter guards. They played well at times, but let's face it, they were shorter. They got stuffed a lot of times, couldn't get the shot off a lot of times. Beadle is 6'3". Of course, Alex Hemingway and who is it? I'm missing somebody.
Chase Hunter.
Chase Hunter are both 6'3.5", or at least they're listed 6'3.5". Chauncey Gibson is 6'6". So they're getting bigger at guard, by these two guys leaving, by definition, actually, by subtraction, I guess I should say. But anyway, I'm wondering if Brad Brunell, who is the king of the portal, he's the anti-Dabo in the portal. I'm wondering if he's going to go and try and find somebody in the portal, because 2,600 minutes is a lot for two guys to try and replace. Seems like you need somebody else. I guess Hemingway and Chase Hunter is going to play more, I assume. He kind of broke out this year. But that's a lot of minutes to replace at guard.
It is a lot of minutes, and it's the knowns too, right? We knew what we had with Alamir Dawes and Nick Honor. We were talking even a couple shows ago about how Honor wasn't playing as much, and it probably was 100% because of his height. And sometimes, especially in games against like North Carolina, where you look at Leaky Black and RJ Wright and all these guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'9" at the guard position. I mean, it's literally like me playing versus my 4-year-old son. It just wasn't fair. And my 4-year-old may beat me, though, as Alamir Dawes would beat some of these guys off the dribble. Yeah, we're going to miss him. And I know it hits me a little harder because you get a Jersey guy down to Clemson and you kind of feel a little pride for him. Yep. But everything, all signs are pointing that Alamir Dawes will probably end up at Seton Hall University.
Wow.
That's the early rumors, and he was apparently recruited heavily by Seton Hall out of St. Patrick's, or the Patrick School. And then once Coach went to St. Peter's, he chose Clemson over Seton Hall. So anyway, but yes, to answer your question, to stay on track here, I think Breno will absolutely get a guard, will absolutely get a bigger guard. And no, Clemson fans, they're probably not going to go get Doug Edert from St. Peter's. I don't think he fits in the ACC. I loved him, loved watching him. Great story. Could absolutely get his shot off and hit a big shot. I just don't think he fits down here. Another guy that's probably going to end up at Seton Hall University.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's just where I was going. Of course, the St. Peter's coach is now the Seton Hall coach, and that would make sense for
Shaheen Holloway.
Both of those guys. Thank you. I didn't know his name.
I forgot.
He has such a soft voice. It's just alarming. You're expecting, what the heck is that? Hey,
went to the same high school as Alamir Dawes, too.
Okay. That makes sense. No wonder those rumors are out there. Let's see what Nelson say. 3 players from the Peacocks. Yeah, went to the portal.
Couple forwards, though. There was one guard, Edert, and then another forward. I don't know. I mean, we got Honor from Fordham. That's in that conference. I don't think that they're going to go get a guy from St. Peter's. Great story, but I'm hoping for a little bit more than St. Peter's.
Yeah. So we'll see. The new guys may be better, but as you said, and I wrote in the article, that's a lot of experience we're losing in Honor and Dawes. We'll see. Maybe addition by subtraction. Who knows? Houston says the Chuck Amato of basketball. He coaches a little bit better than Chuck Amato does. So I know Chuck had some good seasons there, but most of them were.
Houston loves Brownell.
Not great. Yeah. Brownell's number one fan is hanging on our every word here. So I just think I'm looking at it as they're getting bigger, and I am hopeful for next season. Hey, Casey, I know you and Nelson were going back and forth about softball today. I was in the middle of, I think, my 727th meeting of the day, or at least it felt like it, man. What a day, what a week. But how'd the softball team do today? I think they had a walk-off in the first game, and I'm not sure about after that.
Yeah, they won two, and I know Nelson's going to correct me, but I believe Millie went no hitter in the second game. Millie Thompson went no hitter in the first game. Marissa Gombarda with 2 strikes, 2-2 count, down 2-1 with a woman on, um, hit a 2-run bomb to win it. And literally, the pitcher from Furman tried to sneak one by her, and Gombarda did not miss it. And she's not missing a lot recently. Her and Aaliyah Logaleo are probably up for 1-2 National Players of the Week, and they're having a heck of a run here. Clemson's 27-10 currently, 14-4 at home. They finished the 2-game sweep doubleheader midweek against Furman here today. They go on the road, I believe, against Pittsburgh. Hopefully it's not too cold up there. Pitt is 13-16 overall, 1-9 in the ACC. So hopefully, if you get a decent outing or two from Valerie Cagle, mix in a Millie Thompson, and keep these bats going. One thing to keep an eye on is Sam Russ is 18 of 18 in stolen bases. And you know I am the stolen base king. I always look at that stat first. That's why Clemson got her. And now she's sitting at the top of the lineup, and she's 18 of 18 in stolen bases. I'm not sure she's ever been caught in college. That's why we have a fact checker.
Well, first of all, you stunned me when you said you're the stolen base king. I was trying to picture a man of your size prowling the base pass.
I thought I was fast, Marty.
Millie did have a no-hitter in the second game today. So, hey, our fact checker checked your fact, and for once it was right.
I read Nelson's text. That's basically how I knew that, because I was working today as well. So
I had a meeting and they asked me questions and I had to pay attention to the meeting. I kept hearing my name and I was like, oh, wait a second. Sam Russ is still in second base. Could you give me a minute? Could you give me a minute? Well, they are struggling in the ACC also, right?
Clemson 6-6 in the ACC,
okay.
But their schedule didn't. They faced. They had Duke, they had North Carolina, who they swept North Carolina. They played Louisville already, I believe. NC State. They've had Virginia Tech. They've had a tough draw this year, but they're doing fine. They're doing fine. They're still going to be 30-something and 12, and they're going to be all right.
Well, our fact checker is checking your facts tonight, and you're 2 for 2. Sam Russ is the NCAA leader in stolen bases among active players, and she's perfect so far this year. Now, Nelson always says she's fast. I saw her steal a base the other day, and she looked pretty fast. It's kind of hard for me to judge. I don't have a lot of experience watching the softballers, especially steal bases.
She gets a good jump, and they have to start on the bag, so they can't leave until the ball's released. She has that thing timed.
That's one of the weird things about softball, where they sit there with their hand like on their knee, facing second or third or wherever they're going. It's kind of unique after watching baseball. Hey, Beef, I don't know if you know this, but Parker Coleman and I sat down and did the baseball preview for the Chop and Beef, and you're welcome to download it and use it. Just put it into your feed. The kid went 50 minutes on the American League, 43 minutes on the National League without note one, right? Without note one. I did show him. I had on my phone. The only thing I showed him was all the guys that left Oakland, because there's like 27 of them. It's like the Clemson football entry list, right? I showed him that, but other than that, everything on those 2 podcasts within 83 minutes, hour and a half, was him out of his head. Now, if he could do that with geometry, as I told you on the text, that would be wonderful, or on Twitter, that would be wonderful. But I was so impressed. And one of the best things, when Slider grows up, one of the best things you can do is something I did for Parker. I hope he doesn't hear this. Is we got a flyer in the mail that said, "Hey, your kid, whatever. We think he'd be great in debate." And I was like, "Debate? Parker Coleman? He hardly says a word." But he took to it like a duck out of water. I sold it to him as something that would help him in his sports arguments with fans of other teams. And what you heard on that feed, if you've listened to it on those two podcasts, is the results of a couple of years in debate class where he's forced to defend his opinion, which is a great thing.
Well, you know what? I was going to say that to you because I've listened to him before you and I came on, and you were doing a couple things where he would pop on and stuff.
Yeah.
And the kid's got more knowledge, but his delivery now is head and shoulders better than it was then. And I was going to say that. I think I don't know if you're paying for a debate, but you owe them another check if you are, because his delivery and the way that he speaks eloquently and clear and not a lot of uhs and ahs and ums. I mean, it just flew. That 53 minutes literally just flew. And quite honestly, the big joke with Chop and Beef is that I don't pay attention to much baseball. I watch it. I watch all the game. I watch as many games as I want. But like fantasy baseball, I don't even know these players anymore. And that's me, old guy, get off my lawn. But oh my God, it was tremendous. So I enjoyed it. I didn't listen to the National League one yet, but I'm an American League fan, so I listened to the American League one. But it was great, man, and his delivery was fantastic. So well done, Juice Box Junkies. Check it out on Spotify.
Yeah, we don't pay for it. They
it's
take
cool,
turns.
Right?
Yeah, it's cool, but we take turns, getting them for their Saturday debates, their the snacks and stuff, because they're there all day sometimes, right? They're there for like 8 hours. But it just changed his whole, and the teacher's good. That's obviously important, but it changed his whole outlook on. He was going to school on Saturday mornings in a suit, right? What kid does that voluntarily? And he would be there for like 8 hours. It was just great. She had told me when I talked to her about, the teacher had told me that they're very close to each other, the debate team. They're very engaged. They spend a lot of lunches together, talking debate, looking, researching, all that kind of stuff. So it's been really, really good for him. Um, he's going to be. I told him before. I said, you're going to be speaking all your life, and at some point you're going to have to speak in front of people. So this is a great thing. Don't be like me. One day get stuck in front of 200 people trying to sell them health insurance, going, so don't be like that in that instance. But it was a good thing, and I appreciate your kind words, and I'll pass those along to Parker. Hey, the Chop and Beef is still on hiatus. Casey is trying to figure that out. But while he's taking that off, we're actually doing some fine work for rubbingtherock.com. It's a fan-sided site. Boy, I said that right. Fan-sided site. I was introduced to Fansided last year. I started writing for an Astros website, had a blast with it. So the opportunity came up for Rubbing the Rock. I applied, and after 17 rounds of interviews, after about 30 seconds, they said, we got somebody who wants to do slave labor. No, I was joking with Chancey about slave labor. What's he going to do? Fire me, right? But it's been a lot of fun there too, specifically based on Clemson. John Chancey's done some great work. Casey the Beef Cregan does our baseball previews. 5 things for he wants to see in this spring game. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but also it's a lot of fun. We have an audience, a larger audience there that reads our writing, and it's a lot of fun. It's just been enjoyable. And if there's anybody out there, paging Houston Burnett, who wants to write about Clemson, check it out or reach out to me. We can talk about it. It's an all Clemson website for the most part, though. So Clemson focused, a lot of fun. Casey's been great. The article last week, or was it the Georgia one? One of your last 2 got your most views, other than the slideshow, of course, because we know how the slideshow works. Yeah. But you've done great, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, it's been fun, and the way that I've been taken to it is that I was tasked with I've said it in the Georgia article. I've always been, and this is because I'm a Tommy Bowden and Tommy West brother or son, son of those guys. That's what I was brought up in for Clemson, my Clemson fandom, and when I was a student there. That I always can believe that the opponent will beat Clemson, and it's still true to this day. That I always come up with some stat that's like I don't even know. It gets crazy. Like Louisiana Tech comes to town. I'm like, oh, what that running back ran for 315 against FCS North last week. So I always seem to come up with. So I'm kind of doing the baseball stuff. A, it gets me excited about the game and figured out who they're playing against, and B, just to kind of get a feel and how it's going to work for when football comes around. And I'm gonna dive deep into the opponent of the week. Probably not going to pick against Clemson very much, but it's still it's a lot of fun. So I'm trying to play with it, but it's been great.
We'll see. We'll see if maybe in football season you'll find reasons for them to lose. And what I found is even more so than when I was writing for Seldom Used Reserve, is that it has given me a freedom to express. I won't say my doubts, but the other side of being the Homer fan, right? Kind of think like, what are they thinking? I'm putting my thinking cap on to say, why would they be doing this? Or why are all these guys transferring from the basketball? And I'm not one of those guys that finds something wrong with everything, but you need to point out when something's not right, and two guards transferring from the basketball team in 2 weeks, kind of go, wonder what's up there, and just point that out without being a jerk about it. But I feel it's given me a freedom for some reason on this website. My name's on there, just like it was on Seldom Used Reserve, but I have this freedom to maybe it's because the audience is bigger and I'm not scared of running anybody off. I don't know, but I feel a freedom to express myself, not always sunshine and marigolds, shall we say. So, but there's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun on there because you can write about anything. I'm writing about Seth Beer today, making the Diamondbacks. It's just real interesting and a lot of fun to do that. All right. Well, and I appreciate you joining, and you and John Chancelley also. John's written a lot of good things and had a 1,257-word article the other day that's doing really, really well. Chancelley, I don't know if you've looked at it, but it is doing well. Casey the Beef Cregan, let's keep it short tonight and tell the people we appreciate them. Let's get out of here.
Thanks, everyone in the Seldom Used Reserve College Football Discussion Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for his fact-checking and all his help. Uncle John McGee, as always. Sluggo Podcast, and each and every one of you who listens, likes, shares, and participates. On behalf of Marty, Seldom Used Reserve Coleman, I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you next week, probably, here on Sluggo.
We'll figure it out.
I think we're done here.